In today's video, I'm going to take a picnic roast and turn it into pulled pork, but I'm going to do it with two different methods, both on the Weber kettle, one with a Slow N Sear and one with the Weber baskets. I'm going to take you along for the ride and show you my thoughts and the results of how it turns out. And after all, isn't how it cooks the most important thing? Now, admittedly, that could be pretty subjective. And I'm also going to do one objective test where we're going to compare the differences of the temperature across the cooking surface between the Slow N Sear and the baskets. That one's pretty interesting. You're going to want to check it out. Just because it's an overnight cook doesn't mean that you can't prep things ahead of time. So I chopped up the pecan pieces, I filled up the charcoal baskets, and I got everything ready to go. So that way at midnight, all I had to do was light it. Now, even though it isn't pictured here, I did use a water pan with the Weber baskets, put it right there on the charcoal grate so it would match what the Slow N Sear had. All right, so it's nearly midnight and we are gonna get this cook started. I've got two kettles. One, I'm gonna put the picnic roast on with the Slow N Sear, and the other one is gonna have the baskets. I'm going to sleep and we're gonna find out which one's gonna do the best. Now, I am gonna wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, about 4 hours into the cook, to be able to check on both of them and give you guys an update. With the Weber baskets, I made sure I put the picnic roast as far away from the baskets as possible, just to make sure that they didn't get too close to that fire. On the Slow N Sear, I didn't worry about that, and I set it directly in the center part of the grate and closed the lid and let it go. So you're probably wondering what kind of rub I used on this, and I like to keep it simple. Just a little bit of salt, and some crushed black pepper, some paprika for color, and because I like a good smoke ring, you had to use some celery seed. Now, the reason why it's so simple is because pulled pork sandwiches are good, but even better than that are pulled pork burritos. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. All right, so it's 6:30 in the morning, and I wanted to give you guys an update on how my night went. Now, there's one big surprise that I didn't expect, and that is the baskets have burned out. The reason for that is because I didn't count out the number of coals, I just filled it to capacity, and so even though the efficiency was about the same between the two, the Slow N Sear had more charcoal in it than the baskets, but I still expected it to be able to go more than that 6 hours, at least until the time when I'd be able to wake up to get it going. I think I can get it started again, but it's dropped well below the 225 that I was hoping for. Now, the second one is that the color on the pork is a little bit different. On the baskets, it's a lot darker color, where on the Slow N Sear, it's a lot more of that beautiful mahogany color that you're looking for, which is something that I didn't expect either. Figured that they would cook a little bit more even than that as well. After the Weber basket started to burn out, I needed to add some more charcoal. Now I'm using the standard hinged Weber grates, and they don't quite open right, so that way you can fill up two baskets at the same time if they're on the same side. And so that makes it a little bit awkward, and you end up having to slide it around, which doesn't work very well to fill up the other one. Now on the Slow N Sear, that doesn't happen because there's only one basket, one hinge, and you can just throw them right in there, and you don't have to worry about moving things around. So these have been on for about 7 or 8 hours now, and it's about time to wrap it. They've hit the stall, they've been there for a while, and frankly, I'm ready to go inside. So I'm going to cheat just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them in the oven, because once you've wrapped them in foil, it really makes no difference. Now, I know some of you are going to judge me for that, but this one is all about making it as easy as possible and getting the best result. After a few more hours in the oven, you could not tell the difference between the two. They looked the exact same. The only real difference was there was a little bit more smoke ring on one or the other, but the taste and texture were all the exact same. So here's how I laid out the test to compare the difference in temperatures between the Slow N Sear and the Weber baskets across the cooking surface. I set each of them up to cook at 250 degrees, and then I left the lid closed for about an hour and a half, so that way all the temperatures could equalize on both. Then I set up the temperature probe, so I was testing right here in the center of the cooking grate. That's where the temperature needed to be 250 degrees. I compared that to one an inch away from the charcoal and an inch away from the back, and then compared the differences in temperatures between the two methods. So here's what I found out as I did this test. On the Weber baskets, there was a 37-degree difference between up next to the charcoal and the back of the kettle. But on the Slow N Sear, that was only 10 degrees. So what does that extra variation in temperature mean? Well, it means that you're going to have to rotate your food more often, and you're also more likely to have it burn on that hotter side. At 250 degrees, if there's a 30-degree difference or 37-degree difference, then you're closer to 290 at that spot, and then the other part is cooking at 250 degrees. That's going to give you pretty uneven results, and it's going to be a little bit inconsistent. The 10 degrees on the Slow N Sear is a lot more manageable and something that you could deal with. So if I had to choose to cook low and slow on the Weber kettle between the Slow N Sear and the baskets, which one would I pick? Well, you might remember that the results were the same between the two on the Slow N Sear and the Weber baskets on the pulled pork, and that was because it's about the cook and not the cooker. Now, I don't mean to say that I'm awesome. What I mean to say is whatever is convenient for me is the thing that I'm going to want to use. And because it was a lot easier, had a lot less temperature variations in it, it's going to get my money every single time. Now, if you want to check out more videos that I've done on the Slow N Sear and different recipe ideas, I'm going to put it right up here. There's going to be a playlist for you to check out. Have a good one.